contestant as the appropriate word to be used in filling the gap. So the contestant is reduced to a human punch bag. It may happen that the boxers are not well dashed. A. Leveled, B. Groomed, C. Spared, and D. Stayed. The correct answer is option B, and that is the groomed. You groom boxers. Even footballers are groomed. So in this context, the appropriate word is groomed. You cannot make use of leveled. You cannot make use of spared. You cannot make use of stayed. The meanings of these words are not even close to what the context is trying to communicate. It may happen that the boxers are not well groomed, one being much stronger than the other, as a result of which is so much dash. A. Underrates, B. Overrates, C. Outclass, and D. Outfits. The final answer is option C, and that is outclass. That is, there would be one that would be weak and the other would be stronger. The stronger one would outclass the weak one, as a result of which he so much outclasses his opponent that he win dash. A. By knockout, B. By a knockdown, C. By a punch up, D. By a punch down. The answer is by knockout. In boxing, the appropriate word is knockout and not knockdown. No punch up and by a punch down. The final answer is option A, which is a by knockout. Many boxers having suffered permanent brain dash. A. Drain, B. Fatigue, C. Damage, and D. Strain. The final answer is damage. It has to do with when the brain becomes red, when it becomes ineffective as a result of punches during the activity of boxing. So here we have many boxers having suffered permanent brain damage in the dash. A. Barrage, B. Clutter, C. Rattle, and D. Racket. Question 19, and that is option A, which is barrage. Barrage has to do with the rapid attacking outpouring of something. So here in the context of boxing, it means a rapid attacking of one contestant on the other. And when we talk about the rapid attack, it has to do with outpouring of punches on the weaker contestants. In the barrage of punches that have been thrown at them during their dash, A. Career, B. Calling, C. Vocation, and D. Routine. Question 20. The answer is option A, which is a career. Here we talk about career because it is a profession. And lastly, of punches that have been thrown at them during their career. Now to 2015 UTME use of English questions. The question we are making use of is the CBT copy. Passage 1. Read the passage carefully and answer the questions that follow. I read. There are many different approaches to conflict management, each of which may have utility in particular circumstances. A great deal of scholarship has been devoted to analyzing how and in what situation different approaches can be applied most effectively. Conflict management approaches can be classified into two broad categories. Firstly, on the basis of the level of escalation which the particular conflict is being managed. In this sense, one can distinguish between the peaceful and the military approaches. The trademarks of the peaceful approach are negotiation, verbal persuasion, use of inducement, denial of privileges, and subtle manipulations short of the use of physical forces, while those of the military approach relate to the use of physical coercion. The use of physical coercion could be by the party to the conflict or third party to promote one side's interest, impose a settlement, or create a situation in which diplomatic negotiations can occur. Secondly, conflict management approaches can also be classified according to the status of the participants in the bargaining process. For example, a conflict could be managed through negotiation, that is, direct bargaining by the parties involved in the conflict, or through mediation. This is with the help of the third party. Now to the question. Question 1. The expression third party as used in the passage means A. Politician, B. Intruder, C. Conformist, and D. Mediator. The mediator is actually the person that interferes or intervenes when there is a conflict. Conflict could be between two or more people, two or more organizations, two or more countries. So the mediator would be that country or that organization that is coming in between to settle the dispute or conflict. So the answer is option D. Question 2. From the passage, it can be deduced that A. All nations adopt the peaceful approach. This is not stated in the passage. The passage does not indicate that it is all organizations that adopt the peaceful approach to solving their conflict. Option B. Only one conflict management approach can be applied in all situations. This is not true of the passage because the passage talks about different approaches to solving conflict. Option C. Prevailing circumstances push a warring nation to sue for peace. This is also not true of the passage because it is not contained in the passage that prevailing circumstances push a warring nation to sue for peace. Option D. Conflicts are noted for facilitating opportunities. It is stated in the passage that conflicts are noted for facilitating opportunities, and this is contained in the last sentence of the first paragraph. I read, the use of physical force could be by a party to the conflict or third party to promote one side's interest, impose a settlement, or create a situation in which diplomatic negotiations can occur. So here we have option D as the final answer. Question 3. Which of the following statements can be inferred from the passage? A. The approach to employ in conflict. Option B. Only one conflict management approach can be applied in all situations. C. All conflict management approaches can be applied in all situations. Option D. There is a general disagreement among scholars on conflict management. The final answer is option A because the passage describes different approaches to controlling conflict, and that is the approach to employ in conflict. The approaches to controlling conflict, and then the most appropriate one is discussed in the passage. Question 4. According to the passage, the different approaches to conflict management are A. Pernicious, B. Uniform, C. Misleading, and D. Fundamental. The answer to the question is option D, and that is the fundamental. It implies that the different approaches to conflict management according to the passage are fundamental. Now to the second passage. The second passage has to do with filling the gap, and then the passage below has gaps. Immediately following such gap, 4 options are provided. Choose the most appropriate option for each gap. Now to the passage. Before now, students bumped into career by chance or through the assistance of parents. These parents had perceived notions of dash: A. Insignificance, B. Prestigious, C. Brainwash, and D. Database. The correct answer is option B, which is prestigious. and prestigious is the only option that we can associate with the notion of parents on the issue of choosing career. These parents had perceived notions of prestigious professions and gave little consideration to the children's interests, aptitude, knowledge, and skills. Students' career decisions were also A. influenced, B. hampered, C. subdued, and D. rejected by the type of secondary schools they attended. And here, the appropriate word is subdued, and this has to do with when the power or strength of someone or something is reduced, or when somebody is dominated or overcome. Before government takeover of schools in 1971, over 80% of elementary and secondary schools were privately owned, and competition was A. high, B. minimal, C. low, and D. moderate. Question 13. The answer to it is option C, which is low. And competition was low among these schools. Each tried to carve as A. attitude, B. image, C. effort, and D. avenue. The final answer is attitude. To carve as attitude for ourselves by excelling in sports and academic, and students often ended up in engineering, medicine, and science. And students often ended up in engineering, medicine, the science, and law. Junior students